What's up, chat? What's up? What's up? We got the stressed webcam angle. Yeah. So we're back, yo. We're back. Hold on, let's see. How's the quality? How's the CPU usage? Okay, it's low-key laggy. Might just stop stream and fix this. Okay, chat, we are back and we are live. Don't have the stream cut out or else it's still continuing. Oh yeah, we're back. Let's see. Let's see. Okay, well, we're back. Let us just will begin stream shortly. Let's get some music on and let us change the stream title to day 15. Ooh, okay. And the XCon project. And yeah, that should be it. Okay. What I need now is to see. It should be somewhere here though. It's not played. No, it's not here. It's fine. There we go. Alright, that's going. And now we need to post this on Twitter and then we can get started. So, x.com. That's all right. So, let's get chat going. We should be starting in just a few minutes here. I hope you guys had a good weekend. Today is gonna be an interesting stream since we are building the XClone. And it's gonna be a fun, interesting stream. So, Yeah, let's get right into the stream. Okay, stream looks good on my phone. And let us go ahead and do Scrimba.com. Okay. Building the XClone. Let's minimize this since we're done with it. I just think it's not done. I didn't finish this. What is going on, bro? Alright, this was the one that was bugging. Yeah, we finished this. So this has about 31, less than this, so it should be doable. Probably will be done by tomorrow, hopefully. Let's get started.
We are going to clone one of the internet's most important and iconic websites. From tech pioneers, film stars and presidents, to regular people like you and me, when the world wants to speak, it turns to Twitter. Our Twitter clone, called Twimber, from Twitter and Scrimba, will mimic some of the functionality of real Twitter. We are going to render out some tweets from some pre-prepared data, and our tweets are super realistic. We've got some spammer trying to sell us some crypto, and Elon is down here tweeting about a mission to Mars. Now, each of our tweets will be likable and unlikable, and they'll also be retweetable, and if we change our minds, unretweetable. Now, if we want to view the replies to a tweet, we can come down here to the replies icon, click on it, and that will reveal the replies. So we can see that Tom Cruise is interested in this mission to Mars, but Chuck Norris went last year. Now, of course, we'll also be able to write a tweet and then hit tweet to post it to our feed. Okay, that's the functionality. Let's check out the code that we've already got. I don't need to say too much about the HTML. This is all familiar stuff. And likewise, the CSS has already been done for us. We will talk about 1 or 2 bits of CSS as we go along, but this is a JavaScript course, and that is what we'll be focusing on. Now, we have all of this data in index.js, and again, this data is fairly complex. It's an array of objects, and each object is probably bigger than most of the objects you've been working with up until this time. But it's nothing to be daunted by. Most of these properties are just holding strings. So we have got the handle, and that is just giving us the name of the person who sent the tweet. We've got the profile pic, which is the path to the image, and all of our images are up here in this image folder. Next, we have got 2 numbers, so likes and retweets. And then underneath, we've got the actual text of the tweet, which is just held in a string. Now, things get a little bit more complicated with the replies, because the replies is an array. Now, this tweet has got an empty array, so therefore it has no replies. But if we scroll down, we can see that this second tweet does have replies, and each reply is an object with a handle, a profile pic, and tweet text. So basically a simplified tweet. Now, underneath the replies, we have got 2 booleans, is liked and is retweeted. These are set to false by default. Now, there could be a little bit of confusion between the likes and is liked and retweets and is retweeted. Just to be clear, the likes and retweets show the number of likes and retweets a tweet has from anyone at any time. So I've hard-coded those numbers just to mock up a real-world scenario. These booleans, is liked and is retweeted, are for our user, because when a user clicks on the like icon, the icon changes color and the count increments. But when they click on it a second time, the count decrements and the color goes back to the original gray. So that is why we're
gonna be a tough challenge.
So we know whether a user has liked or retweeted a tweet. Now lastly, we've got this property called UID, And a UID is a universally unique identifier. It's basically a unique key, and it is quite normal in datasets to have some kind of ID property with a unique key to identify each block of data. Now, we will be talking more about these UIDs later, but for now, it's enough to know that each tweet object has one, and it's unique to that tweet. Now, when we're building this app, we're going to meet a lot of JavaScript. So let's have a quick overview. We'll be using the for-each method to iterate over arrays. We'll look at CDNs or content delivery networks, and we'll be using them to get us some icons and generate UIDs for our new tweets.
Hold on. What are CDNs? I want it from here. Geeks for geeks. CDN stands for Content Delivery Network. It is a network that helps speed up web page loading for web users. It is spread all over the world, and the usage of the internet is everywhere. It is basically a distributed system of servers that store the data by the use of Amazon Web Services or Google Cloud Storage, and it serves that data to the user via the nearest service while the loading or buffering of web pages is slow. Oh. So this is the original server, and this is the server that's closest to them, I guess. That's what they're meaning. And so it gets from the original server to the cache server, and it's just always there, I guess. A CDN operates through 3 key components. Origin server, the main server that stores and maintains the updated version of the website data. Edge servers located in multiple geographic regions. They temporarily cache content from the origin and deliver to users from the nearest location, ensuring faster loading times. Okay. DNS servers translates domain names into IP addresses and directs user requests to the appropriate server. When a user requests content, the DNS routes request the nearest edge server. Okay. Script. This is code. What is this though? The script tag fetches the jQuery library from Cloudflare's CDN, ensuring faster loading and reduced server load. Wait for the page to load. Document ready ensures that JavaScript runs only after the web page is fully loaded. Oh. Apparently there's a variable inside here, somewhere inside here called, inside the CDN, called document. And you can call the .ready function. Then you can, do your thing. Add content dynamically. Body, append, insert paragraph into the web page body. How does the CDN improve website's performance? By using DNS filter, by compressing user data caches. What is the primary purpose of content delivery network? Which component of a CDN stores the updated origin server? When a user requests a web page, what does CDN typically do first? Let's see. Oh, let's go.
We'll be using the text area HTML tag, and this will give us a multi-line input field. We'll be using data attributes to store pieces of information in an element. We'll be conditionally rendering some styles, and we'll be using the logical NOT operator to flip a boolean. And of course, on top of that, you'll be practicing plenty of JavaScript that you've studied before, so there's a lot to look forward to. Now, it looks to me like once again we have got a lot of data polluting index.js. So let's start by getting this data into its own file so we've got some space right here to write our JavaScript. When you're ready for that, let's go.
Let's get it!
At the moment, the app isn't looking too good. We've just got a logo, a profile picture, and a button. But before we start getting this app working, there's one big problem that I really want to sort out. Here in index.js, we have got about 60 lines of data. And this data is really important. These are the tweets that we're going to be using to populate our app. But taking up 60 lines of index.js is really obnoxious. It just makes it a really awkward place to work. So to remedy this problem, I have set you a challenge. I want you to put all of this data in its own file called data.js, and I want you to export it back here into index.js. I've put a reminder here, make any changes to index.html that are necessary to make this work. Now, you've done this before, so I have left this challenge deliberately vague, but it is totally understandable if you can't remember 100% of what you need to do to get this working. So if you do need some help, click on the link in this slide. That's going to take you to a help page, and on that page you'll find some reminders. And I'll get this sorted out, and I'll see you back here in just a moment.
Okay, so what we need to do is export any... Wait. Okay, so we need to create a new file called data.js. Data.js, not KS, bro. Data.js, and we need to copy every property that's inside here, paste it inside here. And then we need to export const data tweets. And then we need to come to our index right here and delete everything except the comment. So that's here all the way down. And now we can do import. Tweets data from data.js /data.js. How to import, right? How to import a JS file. Import as. Oh, and those brackets too. Okay. Oh, okay. That's okay. So console.log tweets data, and then let's check the HTML index.js. But it's already imported now. Oh yeah, right. Export the data from data.js, import the data into index.js. I'm going to use that. Add type module to the script tag and index.html. Type module. Right.
Hopefully you got create. The final thing that we need to do in data.js is use the export right to the out and make this work. Factor in their own file, and then we've imported them about what to do that in the next scrim. When you're ready, I'll see you there. The text inputs that we've already seen were designed for shorter pieces of text like usernames and passwords. What can we do if we want to give users a bit more space to express themselves? Well, we can use text area, which is a multi-line input field. Now, over here, I am building one of those useless chatbots that don't really manage to answer your questions. At the moment, it's just a button, and in the JavaScript, we've taken control of the button and set up an event listener. What I need to do now is give my users a place to compose a message, and a text area is just the thing for that. So over in index.html, I'm going to come in here where I've left this prompt, and this is where I'm going to set up my text area. Now, a text area is not an input type. It has its own tag. And it definitely does need a closing tag. Now let's hit save. And our text area has appeared, and I can come in here and write a message.
I'll try, give me a second. Alright. And we're back.
And because it's a multi-line text area, I can hit enter and continue on a new line. And so that is working fine. But we're not quite done. I want to add some placeholder text, so we can do that right here. Okay, so that's very similar to the text inputs we've seen before. And now let's also give this text area an ID so we can take control of it with JavaScript. Now this line of code has got quite long, so let's bring this down onto a couple of lines. And if I hit save, that should work fine. But look what happens if I bring the closing tag down onto its own line. It actually breaks it. The placeholder text has disappeared. So we need to keep the opening tag and the closing tag together. So let's save that and head over to the JavaScript and take control of that text area using this ID chat input. And we can log out whatever a user has written inside this text area by accessing chat input's value property. So let's just do that right here inside the event listener. Let's save that and give it a go. And there we are, down in the console, we are logging out hello. And likewise, we can empty that text area by setting chat input's value to an empty string. Let's save and give it a try. And there we are. As soon as I pressed talk to me, we logged out the contents of the text area and the text area empty. Okay, one last thing to think about. We have got these lines down here in the corner of our text area. Now, what these lines allow the user to do is actually resize the text area so it's as big or small as they want it to be. Now, you may or may not want that. Right now, I don't want the users to be able to mess with the nice design of my site, so I actually want to disable this feature. So I'm going to come over here to the CSS. Now, I've got a selector set up for text area already, which has just got some basic styles to make it look good. And I'm going to come in here and I'm going to say resize, and I'll set that to none. And as soon as we do that, we can see that those lines have disappeared, and I can no longer control the size of this text area. If we refresh, it's back how it should.
It reminds me of my portfolio site, low key. So if you come to here, my portfolio site. Hold on, don't tell me something happened to GitHub. Bro, their GitHub server is down? Yo, okay. They are low-key lagging. Won't even lie. People from my feed are working, yo. I'm happy to see this. Anyway. Yo, I get so motivated when I see people being active. People I follow and all that. So if we come to the portfolio. Oh. Alright, you see this? Someone can change it. It looks ugly when they do. Okay. It looks ugly when they can change it, so I think I'll change this eventually. And also, I think I'll change this too. Yeah, I think I'll change this. I think I'll change my whole portfolio size, because low-key I feel like I can do more than this. Because you have the about me, alright? Which doesn't really say much about me. Like, it's just so blank. And you have this, which I think I can show for it. Right. It's alright though. We'll update it eventually. That's a project coming soon.
And I cannot move it. So that is text area. We are going to use one of these back in our main project to give our users a field in which they can compose their tweets. When you're ready, let's move on.
Let's go.
A Twitter clone is no good if you can't tweet. So the first thing we need to do is add a place for us to input our tweets. And a text area is perfect for that. This is what we're aiming for. So we've got a text area right here with the placeholder text what's happening. And just to warn you, there's already CSS in place. That's why this text area does not have a border. Now I'm going to break this up into two challenges, and this is the first one right here in index.html. I want you to add a text area, give it a placeholder text as shown in the slide, and an ID of tweet-input. Okay, pause now, get this sorted out, and I'll see you back here in just a minute.
Alright. Dude. Okay. What's that song called, bro? Does anyone know what I'm talking about? Bro, that one song, bro. No way. Something like that. How it goes. Uh-oh. Alright. So I think we will have to close that application because the stream is lagging. It is because Oh man, I hate it when the stream lags. Don't worry, you're gonna get a good PC soon. Give it a placeholder. What's happening? Tweet input. Okay.
Okay, hopefully you got that working just fine. So I'm going to come in here and set up the text area tag. And of course, that needs a closing tag. Now I'll bring this down onto a new line and we'll give it some placeholder text, and the placeholder text that we want together to allow us to actually resize the text area. Just pause now for a second, and we don't want that. So can you remember? Okay.
I remember. You gotta come in here. You gotta do resize none. Then we refresh the browser. And boom, what's happening? No, nothing much. What's happening with you? Aww.
Okay, so this tweet button, and in index.html, we can see that that has got an ID of tweet-btn. So I'll set up a const, and I'm going to call it tweet-btn, which I will camel case, and then we will use document.getElement by ID. I'm also going to take control of this text area, and we know that that has got the ID of tweet-input. So I'll just come up here above tweet btn and set that up. And finally, I'm going to set up an event listener on this tweet button. So we'll say tweet btn.add event listener, and we're listening out for a click event, and we want this function to fire whenever that button is clicked. And we can just test that with a quick console.log. So I'll hit the button, and there we are. We're logging out clicked, so we know it's working. Okay, bear with me a second, and I'll set you a challenge. I want you to have the event listeners function log out the contents of the text area when the tweet button is clicked. So we're right here inside that function at the moment. So this is where I want you to write the code. Okay, pause now, get that sorted out, and I'll see you back here in just a minute.
Alright. So what we gotta do is log out the content. So I think I have to come here and do the value. Console.log tweet input. Tweet input solution and kablam. But it won't accept because we added the dot value to the document. Exactly. So we gotta cut this out. Boom. We're not gonna accept instantly. So, oh, come on. That would have been so cool.
Okay, so hopefully you got that working just fine. So we need a console.log, and what we want to log out then is tweet input, and to get access, and I'll hit the tweet button. There we are, down in the console. I'm logging out I heart Scrimba. Okay, great stuff. We've got the app up and running. Next, we should change tack and start thinking about how we display tweets in
Whoever's in chat,
that's
say
going to be quite a
hello.
long process, and
How
we're
you
going to have
been?
to set up some basic boilerplate for our tweets. So let's start doing that in the next scrim. When you're ready, I'll see you there.
All right.
Okay, we have got all of these tweets in our data, and we want to get them rendered into the browser. Now, this is a long process, and it's going to take us multiple scrims. This is what we're aiming for eventually. We want to see each tweet with a profile picture, a handle, the tweet text, and then 3 numbers representing the number of replies, the number of likes, and the number of retweets. And later, we'll be adding icons to these numbers to make it really clear what they're referring to. So if that looks like terrible user experience at the moment, don't worry. In this scrim, we're just starting out with this process and we won't be rendering anything to the browser. I wanted to show you this screenshot just to help you make sense of the HTML boilerplate that I'm going to show you in a moment. So the first thing that we need to do to achieve our aim is set up a function that's going to create some HTML for each of our tweets. So let's go over to index.js and I'll set up that function right now. So I'm just going to come in here underneath the event listener and I'm going to say function, and I'm going to call this function getFeedHTML. And I've used the verb get here because this function will be returning us something. It will be returning our HTML string. Now let's think in a bit more detail about what we want this function to do. The job of this function is to iterate over the data and create HTML for each tweet using some boilerplate that I've given you down here. GetFeedHTML will then need to save this HTML in a let, which can be logged out and eventually returned. Now, before we go any further, let's just examine the boilerplate in a bit more detail. There is quite a lot of it, but don't be daunted. This is just a larger scale of something you've already seen before. So in the boilerplate, we can see 6 places where we have got uppercase text. And it's these that we're going to be replacing with data from our dataset. So right up here, we have got the URL of the profile pic. Well, if we have a look at the slide, every tweet comes with a profile pic. And in the data, the URL is right here. Profile pic is the name of the property, and then there is the path to the image. Secondly, we have got the tweet handle. And again, we can see that on the slide, for example, at Elon. And if we have a look at the data, well, we've got the property handle, and that's got the handle of the tweet's sender. We've got the tweet text. Well, that is the actual body of the tweet, everything that you can see right here. And again, in the data, it's just in a property called tweet text. And then we come to the 3 numbers. So the
No, we have 10 days on our course. Yeah, we're cooked. I mean, low-key. Yeah, we finished this in 3 days or something. Let me give myself that grace period. Oh, yeah, we might be cooked. But no, we can't. I think we can reach the end of essentially JavaScript. And then this. Oh my. It's gonna be insane. Damn, I can't wait for these. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun.
number of replies, which is the first number that we see here, 0 in this case, is actually stored right here. However, this is an array, so the number of replies will be the number of objects in the array. 0 objects in this array. Let's scroll down. We can see there are 2 objects in this tweets replies array. And after that, we've got the number of likes and the number of retweets, and those are both given in the data. We've got these properties here, likes and retweets, and both of those are numbers. So that's what needs to be done first, and in the next scrim, we'll have a challenge to do exactly this. When you're ready, I'll see you there.
Yeah.
Okay, so we know what we've got to do. Here is the function getFeedHTML, and here is our challenge. I want you to use a for-of to iterate over the data and create HTML string for each tweet using the boilerplate below. So we've got the boilerplate right down here. Remember to replace all of the uppercase text in the boilerplate with data from our tweets. We want to store this HTML in a let called feedHTML. And then we can just log out feedHTML and we'll call this function just to check it's working. Quite a lot to do here, but you have done this before, so I have got every confidence in your ability to do this. So pause now, get it sorted out, and I'll see you back here in just a moment.
Yes, Gemini, what's better to use?
Okay, so
Coral or for loop? What is better to use? Or loop? Oh yeah, I remember. The queen choice, no choice. I guess I have to get used to foil. Or tweet of tweets data. Not feed HTML email equals this. URL of profile picture. Okay. That's how you do it. We have that going. I'm just not trusting console. Node index.js. No, we're not going to do this actually. Yeah, we're not going to do this. I need to log it out. Oh yeah, what? The replies line shows the whole array of its count. Choose the array's length. Oh, oh, oh yeah, oh yeah. It's true. Your loop works, but the variable tweet isn't declared. Oh, bro. I keep forgetting how to use for.
Hopefully you
Now it should be good.
initially each tweet back by bringing it down. Access each tweet, braces. Got this, and then now we've got number. So the number of lines that are down in the console, we can see the HTML iterating over arrays. So what I'd like to show you next is an array method called forEach. So let's have a look at that in the next scrim, and then we're going to refactor some of our code. When you're ready, I'll see you there. Okay, so this data might look kind of data for 4 characters. We've got a ninja, a sorcerer, an ogre, and a unicorn. And I've got a for of set up right down here. It should look pretty familiar by now. And we are just logging out each character object. Let's hit save. And it works as expected. We can see each character object down in the console. Okay, so it works fine, but I think there's an even more concise way of iterating over the array. So what we're going to look at now is forEach, a JavaScript method for iterating over arrays. So let's comment out this for of. And now I'm going to take this array, which is just called characters. I'll bring it down here and I will call the for each method on it. And because for each is a method, it needs brackets, and we need to pass for each a function. And this function is going to be an anonymous function, and this function needs a parameter. And this parameter is going to represent each element in the array in turn as the for each iterates over the array. You can think of this parameter as behaving very similarly to this character variable that we used in the for of. And in fact, I'm actually going to use the same name. I'll just call this parameter character. And now let's see exactly what character is by logging it out. I'll hit save. And down in the console, we are getting exactly the same result as we got from the for of. We are logging out each individual object. So if we compare a for of with a for each, there's not a massive saving in terms of the amount of code you need to write. But this for each is neater and cleaner, and I think it's easier to write. And we're using an array method that was designed specifically for this job of iterating over arrays. Now, just like the for of, we can access the individual properties in each character object, and we can do that with dot notation. So let's log out each character's title. I'll hit save, and there we are. We've just got the ninja, sorcerer, ogre, and unicorn, and we can do the same with the emoji. Okay, when I log out powers, we get the same result as we had with the for of. We log out the whole array. What would we have to do if we wanted to access the individual elements in that powers array? Well, we can nest a for each just like we nested a for of. So bear with me 1 second while I set you a challenge. I want you to nest a for each to log out each individual power in each character's powers array. So you've got all of the syntax you need for the for each right here. So go ahead and get this challenge sorted. And when you've got it working, I'll see you back here in just a moment.
I remember this chat though, bro. There's a challenge like this one, but I forgot how to do it. Nest a for each to log out each individual power in each character's power array. So character dot for each power constant.log character dot for each function yard console.log. Hours. Okay. Nested for each to log out each individual power in each character's powers array. Power. Powers. It doesn't exist though, so it can't really be logged out. think that's it. It's a bit inner loop. Okay, no, that's not it. Oh, no, no. I don't know if this you're looping over powers, but the variable isn't defined. Try using the current character's power, e.g. character dot powers. You're looping over powers. The variable isn't defined. Using the character. One can do that. Oh,
on the powers array, so I get confused. Now, before we finish some of this code and just go back to a regular for each where we're just logging out the title of each character. So there we are, we've got our ninja, sorcerer, ogre, and unicorn in the console. Now, at the moment, the function that we pass to for each has got just one parameter. I'm going to add a second parameter, and that parameter is called index. And as the name suggests, this parameter is the index in the array of the current character item. So if we just have a look up at the array, well, index 0 should be the ninja, and index 3 should be the unicorn, because we've got 4 in total, so 0, 1, 2, and then 3 for the unicorn. Now, let's just log out index and see what we get. Well, we just get the numbers 0, 1, 2, and 3. Now, let's add the character's title back in. And when I hit save, we now get a numbered list down in the console, so we can see that the ninja is indeed at index 0, and the unicorn is at index 3. Now, as I said, we're not going to use that feature of for each in our app, but sometimes knowing the index of an element you're working on as you iterate over an array is really, really useful. So bear that in mind. Okay, so that is the for each method for iterating over arrays, and we are going to use that back in our app to iterate over our tweets data when you're ready. Okay, so we are setting up the string of HTML that we are going to render out to the browser so our app looks like that. But before we do that, let's tidy things up just a bit by refactoring this function here, getFeedHTML, to use a for each instead of a for of. So that's your challenge. Replace the for of with a for each. Pause now. Give this your best shot. Do flip back to the previous scrim if you need help with the syntax, and I'll see you back here in just a moment, and we'll have a look together.
Well, I just did the function. Okay.
For tweet each needs to be what we got when
Alright, I'll do 2
to
streams.
get these tweets
This stream will end at 8, so yeah, I think I might do 2 streams. Just depends though. We've already been live for an hour, that's good. But the next stream will do another hour. So yeah, you guys should stay tuned for
rendered
that.
just like we've got on this slide, we are going to set up a new function. Now, it's good to have each function as much as possible doing one task. It's got the class of feed and the ID of feed, and this is where our tweets are going to live. So let's go back to the JavaScript. We can take control of this div and render our tweets to it. Now, I think we're only going to need to access the feed from inside this render function. So I think we can take control of the feed right here and render out our tweets all in one go. So bear with me a second while I set you a challenge. Okay, so I want you to take control of the feed div, and that is the div that we were just looking at right here in the HTML. Next, I want you to render the HTML returned by the getFeedHTML function to the feed div. So this function that we've got up here, getFeedHTML, is returning all of this HTML string. I just want you to render it to the feed div. And I've put here, see if you can do this with just one line of code. When you've done that, you can just come outside of the render function and call it. Okay, pause now, take all of the time you need, and when you're ready, we'll have a look together.
Okay. So take control of the feed div, render the HTML returned by the getFeedHTML function to the feed div. Okay, let's see. The feed div. This is recommend I get element by the feed const feed equals document element by ID feed dot edit HTML is equals to feed. We do like that, or do we have to do the function? Alright, do it on line. So just do take this, paste, and call render. Okay, pass. Why is it not? Oh, you must.
2 lines of HTML, we can happening. That is pretty cool. Now, I did say, see if you can do this with just 1 line of code. So let's refactor this a little bit. I think we can delete this const, then feed no longer exists, and we can actually bring this onto 1 line. So now we're taking control of the feed div, we're accessing its inner HTML right here, and we're setting that to the HTML string returned by getFeedHTML. Let's hit save. And there we are. It works just as well, but we've refactored that down to 1 line of code and we haven't declared an unnecessary const. Okay, that is looking great. Congratulations if you got that working with just 1 line of code. Now is a really good time to take a break, especially if you've been working at this for a while. When you're feeling refreshed, we need to take a look at the user experience, because at the moment our users have got no way of telling that these 3 numbers here refer to replies, likes, and retweets. So what we need is some icons, and we're going to take a moment away from Twimber to look at a really quick and easy way of getting in some nice icons from a service called Font Awesome. When you're ready for that, I'll see you in the next scrim.
Alright. Since he did just say he thinks we should take a break, and I said we might just end stream, I think I'm gonna end stream right here. We might do a second stream. The odds are 70-30. 70% I'll do a stream, 30% I won't. That doesn't mean 30 won't win. That doesn't mean 70 won't win. So, yeah. Hope you guys enjoyed the stream. Nobody watched. It's okay, bro. I'll see you guys in the evening. Later in the evening, like maybe 10 p.m., 9 p.m. Alright, see y'all.